Good morning. Welcome to a momentous episode of Sunroom Storytime. It is momentous because with this episode, we now enter the top 5% of all podcasts ever created. Now, that just is because 95% of podcasts don't make it to their 10th episode. So we're not top 5% of, top rated. Or most listeners, but top 5% of most episodes, which is a crazy stat, and I'm going to hang on to that because we are in the top 5%. 95% of all podcasts are worse than this one, guaranteed. This is also my second recording of this entire podcast episode because I recorded the entire one this morning out of focus on the camera. So, doing really good, feeling really good. But today is a fun story, digging deep into my bag of tricks, my old stories. This one's about 4 years old, but still not something that happened really recently. But what did happen recently is I just got back from Panama City, 2 shows, one in Lynn Haven, Florida, and one in Miramar Beach, which is all in that Panama City area. Incredible shows, so much fun. Both sold out, 150 seats, 100 seats, 150 seats at one, 100 at the other. Amazing crowds, amazing shows. I was with Ron Hortman, headliner there, and Jason Hedden, who puts on the shows down in Panama City. They were incredibly fun, and I got to bring my family. So I got a free beach vacation brought to them by comedy, which is really cool because, normally when I'm going to do comedy, I'm going to do it by myself. I'm the only one that gets to have fun from it, but they actually got to benefit from it this time, which was really awesome. And I do have other comedy dates coming up, as I've talked about. I'm going to plug them here at the beginning and at the end because they're very important to me. I'm doing the Ryman on Saturday. That's crazy. We'll talk about that next week. And then I am going to Montana early June for a corporate gig, but I'm very excited about that. And then I've got July 9th, I'm hosting for Brian Bates here at the Comedy Catch in Chattanooga. July 10th, I am headlining Mount Juliet, Tennessee, Billy Goat Coffee. You can get those tickets on comediandiscovery.com, linked below. And then July 21st, big deal for me, Mic Drop Plano. I'm headlining Mic Drop Plano. That's a 300-seat club in Plano, Texas, and I'm planning to sell it out. And I know I've sold a bunch of tickets so far. The tickets are going fast. If you want to come, please buy tickets early. Give me that momentum from the sales, and I would love to see you there. That's also linked below. But for today, we're going to jump into one of the craziest things that's ever happened to me, one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me. But I will put a disclaimer on this one. If you don't like hunting, or if hunting makes you uncomfortable, I'm not going to get into like details or anything, but it does involve alligator hunting. And so I would just say skip to the Wiki Wondering if you don't want to hear a story about alligator hunting. However, Wiki Wondering is about pirates, and it's also pretty brutal. So, just you'll be fine. Just deal with it is what I'm saying. But yeah, for now, let's get into Sunroom Storytime, story number 10. So as you can see on the video here, I am showing you my magnet, which is part of my merch, and it has an alligator on it, and the alligator's holding a rose. It has my name, Scott Bedgood, and it says, "I got that thing on me." And if you've seen my comedy, if you've been to any of my shows, or if you've seen clips online, you probably get the "I got that thing on me" reference. That is one of my signature jokes, a joke I really like a lot. And I put it on the merch, so people get that. But a lot of people ask me, what's the deal with the alligator? What's the deal with the rose? Now, I mentioned a little bit in my sets, but the rose is because Tyler, Texas, where I'm from, is the rose capital. And then the alligator is a little more specific to me, and a lot of that will come to light here in this story, but it's mostly because I grew up around a lot of alligators. I grew up alligator hunting. I grew up, just on the lake observing alligators, watching them, studying them in certain ways. So I'm a big fan of alligators, but I'm also an alligator hunter. And so that is why the alligator, I kind of put that in a lot of different things just because it feels like a kind of a unique thing to myself. So we've got the alligator, the rose, and we've got that thing on me. So today we're going to talk about the time I got smacked by a large alligator, slapped, walloped. My dad actually got it worse than I did. So that's the story today. So for background, like I said, I'm from Tyler, Texas, which is in East Texas. And then I grew up, a lot of my childhood was spent out at a very kind of swampy lake in East Texas where there are a ton of alligators and a ton of snakes and a ton of all kinds of creatures. It's a really beautiful area, but you're not swimming in the lake is all I'm saying. And there are lots of alligators, and it's a hunting and fishing place. So a lot of people duck hunt, a lot of people deer hunt, a lot of people hog hunt. And we did some of that growing up, but it was never really that exciting to me. It wasn't until we tried alligator hunting that I was like, oh, this is what I like. I think I like the fact that the animal that I'm hunting could also kill me. Now I figured it wouldn't, but this time changed my mind on whether it might. So alligator hunting, it's in Texas. There's a short season of September 10th through 30th. Basically, it might sound really easy if you are just thinking, oh, you just get a gun and you go shoot an alligator from a boat. No, there's a lot of rules that make it harder. Number one thing is you have to have it on a line, so you can't just like take a rifle out and shoot an alligator in the lake and then it sinks down and you lose it. You have to have it on a line because you have to be able to retrieve it, so that adds an element of danger and of challenge. But then the place where we hunt, there's a specific rule where every other rule then goes back to this rule. Every other challenge goes back to this rule, which is that we say you can't kill one over 8 feet. The reason for that is just we do love the alligators. We love that there are these huge alligators out there. There's some 12, 13, 14, maybe even 15-foot alligators out here, which is a very rare thing. And we wouldn't want people taking those out. I mean, those things are like 100 years old, maybe older than that. I mean, these alligators live for a really, really long time. And so the rule keeps it where we're taking kind of that overgrown population of kind of middle tier alligators and allowing the ones that are there to stay and thrive, basically, is kind of the idea there. But that means that you have to know what you're getting. You have to see what you're going to go after and judge whether it's 8 feet or below. There's some leniency for sure, whether it's 8.5. Okay, well, you couldn't judge that in the water, but the difference between an 8 and a 10 is significant, and you would know. You would not make the mistake innocently of killing a 10-foot alligator, thinking it was an 8-foot, most likely. And so that means that everything you do is judging off of that. And if you've seen like Swamp People, the show that was on Discovery or something like that for many years, that's based in South Louisiana. They're doing it, I think, in a commercial setting. And basically what they're doing is they're putting a trot line out. They're throwing it over like a tree, and then the chicken or whatever's on that hook is in the water. Then they leave it overnight. They come in the morning and they pick it up and they pull up the line and they see if there's an alligator on it. And if there is, they shoot it. That's easy. That's boring. That's not what we're doing because you don't know what size that alligator is if you just leave the trot line overnight. So you have to be able to see it visually before you can get it. So that adds a huge element of challenge. And so the ideal scenario is you see an alligator that's the right size, and then we have a fishing pole, like a kind of a heavy-duty fishing pole with some braided heavy-duty line on it and a big old treble hook with like nasty sort of rotten chicken or something. You throw it out there. The alligator sees it. Oh, okay, great. I want this. They go grab it. They swallow it. Then you kind of like deep sea fishing, like you're pulling it to you. They usually don't want to come towards you, but you may be able to get them closer. But they could break that line, even if it's a good line, they could turn and do a death roll and break the line. They could get it tangled up in all these lily pads. They could do a lot of things with just that fishing line. So you want to get them on a heavier duty line. So there's a harpoon you can use that has like a metal line on it. That's really hard to do. There's a snatch hook, which is like a large kind of like a treble hook, but with a big hook on it. And you can throw that out there with a rope attached and kind of drag it until you kind of snag the body. And then you've got it basically on this rope, but you've got to keep it really tense. You got to keep tension on that or it will get loose. So those are both really hard things, but you need to make sure it's secure before you shoot it, because if you shoot it and you don't have it on a line, it sinks to the bottom. You've lost it. That's unethical. That's not great. But I will say, like, for anybody who's like worried about just the idea of like, what if they swallow the hook and then they break the line? They have incredible like stomach acid that can break down even metal like that, so they will survive even with a hook in their stomach. I mean, they're eating bones and things all the time, and then any kind of like damage they heal from. So we've killed some and pulled them up, and they've been missing limbs from fights with other alligators. They've been missing giant chunks of their tail from fights with other alligators, huge gashes. They heal from pretty much anything except for, frankly, like a direct blow to their brain. And so that's kind of what the goal is with a gun when you do finally shoot them. So you get them on the line, you can pull them up to your boat, and then you try to shoot them right in the brain and make that a very quick death, frankly. But often we've shot them a couple times, taped up their mouth. Once we feel like they're done, taped up their mouth, pull them in the boat, and then they kind of come back alive. And it was really, they were just stunned. These are incredible. These are dinosaurs, like they're survivors, so they can survive pretty much anything. So again, that adds to the challenge. Now, that's all the ideal scenario. Typically what happens though is, alligators, as reptiles, cold-blooded animals, they don't have to eat every day. They may go a long time without eating. So they may not be hungry. So you may see one, you may throw the chicken out to them and they don't want it. I've landed chicken directly on their nose before, like with the fishing pole, and they don't want it. Or another situation that happens a lot is they're just not out because of the weather or for whatever other reason. They're kind of out hiding into the lily pads. They're under the water. Maybe it's too hot. Maybe there's a storm coming in. So you could be out on the boat all day and really not see any alligators. Just because they're hidden and they're not coming out. This we've had many very hot September days where we're in the boat all day and just never see an alligator. Conversely, we've had many days where we get in the boat, we're going out to where we're trying to go to, and an alligator swims in front of us. And then we throw the bait out to it. It takes it. The whole process is over in like 30 minutes, and we're back at the house by 8 a.m. I mean, it's very random. Those are easier, but they're kind of not as fun because it's like it was too easy. So that's the process. So this was 2022. I was out with my dad, and I think we'd been out for a little while, hadn't had much luck. And then this pretty large alligator swims basically up to us about 30 yards away, just looking at us. And I say large, he was around 8 feet. He may have been a little bit bigger. Like I said, there's a little bit of leeway, but he might have been a little bit bigger. Certainly not over 9 feet, not crazy, but a large alligator. And he's looking right at us, and we're like, all right, here's some chicken. I throw the chicken out to him. He goes up, puts it in his mouth immediately. Now, ideally, you want them to swallow it, because when they just put it in their mouth, a lot of times they'll just go swim off and try to eat it like in private, basically, or they'll hold it for a long time and then spit it out. So you want them to swallow it, because once they swallow it, they can't spit it out. They could break the line, but they can't spit it out. So I'm like, all right, he's got it. We'll let him, get comfortable and then eat it. Well, he takes it and then he just starts swimming towards us, to the point where I'm not even sure what to do. I mean, I can't even reel in fast enough because the line is like getting slack because he's swimming so fast towards the boat. So we don't actually even know how to react to this, because he hasn't swallowed the bait. He's certainly not close enough for us to, get him on a harpoon or anything like that. But this is unprecedented how aggressive this alligator is being. So he stops about 10 yards from us, and we're like, I guess we should just be patient. Just let him do his thing. Well, he eventually goes under the water, and this was a deeper part of the lake. This is not a very deep lake. So maybe at most it was 15 feet deep, but this was deeper than, sometimes it's 2 or 3 feet deep in this lake. So we sit there for a while, and it's starting to get dark, and you can't hunt after dark. And so we've got to get this process moving before dark. And so finally we decide, you know what, let's try the snatch hook. Now, the snatch hook has never really worked that well for us. Some people are very good at it. My dad is a great alligator hunter. He's not had a lot of success with the snatch hook. But he was like, I think we got to try it. And I said, okay, let's try it. So he throws it out there. And what you do is you kind of throw it past where you want to go and you pull it in, and you hope to drag it over the body and snatch it. But you don't know where he is. You don't know what's going on. You kind of have an idea where he is from the fishing line, but you don't know what part of your body, the body you're going to get. So my dad does it and he's like, oh, okay, I got it. And we're like, whoa, all right. So once you get it, you got to keep that tension. So he's pulling it up. I'm pulling it up with the fishing pole. And because of the two of us, we don't actually know. We only have two of us. So somebody's got to drop what they're doing and get the gun. But he's got the snatch hook where he's got to keep the line taut, and I've got the fishing pole. So we're trying to figure this out, and we're pulling it up, and we're like, I don't know what's going to come up, what part of the body is going to come up. And so I've got the pole, and it ends up that I have the front of the alligator. Well, he's caught the back of the alligator. So it's all like kind of cattywampus, and it's weird. And obviously it's very upset about what's happening. So it comes out of the water, and I'm doing my hands on the video. But if you're listening, basically like there's the boat here. His body comes up kind of perpendicular to the boat. So his head is in the air, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, because my dad and I are both on the edge of the boat. We're both a little bit less than like 200 pounds. And then this alligator is probably a couple hundred pounds. So there's a ton of weight on this one side of the boat, and this alligator's head is right here. Then it dives down in the water. So it kind of flips its entire body, aided by the momentum of my dad pulling the back of it with the snatch hook. It dives down, and now the back half of its body is perpendicular to the boat right next to my dad and I. And alligators, a huge majority of their muscle is in their tail. Their tail is incredibly strong, and they use it, obviously to fight. If they're trying to get away from something, they whip that tail. And they usually like make a lot of noise and momentum, but they can use it like in an attack mode. So he dives down, and in order to get us away from him, he whips the entire back half of his body into us. And so the big meaty part of his tail just crushes my dad, boom, right in the chest and then the head. And then the higher part of the tail, the less meaty but more whip-like part, whips my arm up down my arm, and then it dives in the water. We almost fall in the lake. We're sitting there, we're stunned. There's water everywhere. I think we've dropped kind of all of our equipment. And we're looking around, and I'm like checking on him, and he's I think he might have even had a concussion. He was kind of like shaken by it was really, really stunned. It was just my arm. So my head was fine, but I mean, I think he was probably knocked out a little bit. And so we were like recovering. We didn't fall in the lake somehow. And to show the impact of what happened, I'll put a picture up here. But there was a pair of binoculars, and the binoculars caught a big portion of the alligator's attack as well. And it broke the binoculars in half. And so we still have that memento in our house as a reminder of what happened, because there was nobody filming. Usually like my mom's in the boat filming, but thankfully she wasn't, because who knows? I mean, if anybody else was in the boat, they could have lost their balance and fallen in. Who knows what could have happened? But the only evidence is the binoculars that broke. But we recover, and we're like, wow, that was crazy. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. Then we look, and I realize, you know what? He's still on the line. We still have the fishing pole. The line, I start pulling it, and I'm like, wait a second. This is getting taut. And we kind of fished the line out from behind the boat. I think it got caught in the motor. And then we look, and we're like, oh my gosh, he's right over there. Like he had swam just across this sort of little channel about 35 yards away. I mean, just right over there. So we just reel back over to him. It's starting to get really close to dark. And he pops up about 8 to 9 yards away, just a little bit above the water. At this point, we're like, we can't snatch it because he's in all this trash, all these lily pads, so we'd catch those. Too far away to harpoon. We have him on the line. He's held on to this chicken through all of that, right? Through all of that fighting, all of that just violence. He held on his chicken. So we're like, he must have swallowed it. Why else would he have it in his mouth? So if he swallowed it, if I put a good shot on him, we can pull him in. And I've done this before. I've done this, gotten an alligator this exact way where he was a little bit away. I put a perfect shot on him, one shot, done. We were able to pull him in. So we were like, this has been done before. And it's getting dark. So I shoot, and I don't know if I missed. I know I missed like a perfect shot, but I think I hit him in some way because he freaks out, lots of water everywhere, and then he disappears. And we're like, all right, let's pull him in. So I start reeling, and then up comes the chicken. He had just been holding it in his mouth the entire time. All of that, he held it in his mouth, didn't swallow it. So once the shot hit him, he dropped it. He was like, I am out of here. But of course, we don't know if my shot has killed him, stunned him, whatever. So we have to we're searching the bottom of the lake with poles. We're looking for a long time. I don't know, probably another hour looking for his body or looking for him to come up in some way. And he never did. We came back the next day and looked around, never found him. So certainly I did not kill him. And like I said, alligators survive anything except for basically a direct blow to their head or to their brain. So he probably had a little scar and he's fine. And he's probably still out there. But we almost died. We almost fell in the water. We could have gotten hurt worse from the slap. I mean, like I said, I only took kind of the whip motion, but I had bruises on my arm, kind of in the shape of an alligator tail for weeks. And my dad had, big kind of bruising. And, like I said, I think he was kind of out of it for a little while after that. I mean, it was crazy. And I don't think I have gotten an alligator since then. That was 4 years ago. It was actually, weirdly enough, 5 days before my first ever comedy show. I still have not really ever written a joke about alligator hunting. I don't know if I think it's not relatable enough or I can't think of something that's funny. I mention alligators in one joke, but I don't know what a joke would be when it comes to alligator hunting, but I do think this story is crazy and I wanted to tell the story itself. But yeah, I think that might've been, I don't think I've gotten an alligator since then. And I kind of thought about never going alligator hunting again. I had a two-year-old son at that point, and I was like, that would be such a dumb way for your dad to die. You know what I mean? I really questioned ever going again. I've only gone a few other times, and I don't think I've had any luck. But it is not normally that dangerous, but that is always the potential. Like I said, we've had alligators come alive in the boat. So it's an exciting thing. I kind of hold to that the hunting I like is if the animal can also kill you, then it's okay. If I was in the alligator's territory, it would kill me. And so therefore I don't feel as bad killing it. And I have alligator belts and wallets and boots, all from the alligators that I have personally killed, which feels better than buying any of those things, which I would never do, but it feels better, certainly. If I spent thousands of dollars on an alligator somebody else killed, nah. But when I did, feels okay. And again, if you're not a fan of hunting or alligator hunting, great. That's fine. I understand. I don't like deer hunting. I don't like doing it. I think deer are kind of sweet. I just actually, during this podcast, have been watching a deer out my window, most of the time. And I don't, but if people want to do that, that's fine. There's a lot of population of deer out there. They kind of cause a lot of problems and they taste pretty good. People want to do that, that's fine. It's not for me. Because the deer's not going to kill me. It's just going to run away. So that's my hot take on hunting and my story about alligator hunting. So that is Sunroom Storytime, story number 10. Okay, so Wiki Wondering today came about because I did a pirate cruise with my boys when we were in Panama City. My wife and I heard that this pirate cruise thing was amazing for kids, and we did it. And honestly, it was so much fun. The boys loved it. We got to go out in the Gulf a little bit on this pirate ship, and they did all kinds of games. They got to pull up buried treasure and have sword fights. It was great. And they both want to be pirates when they grow up now. And there was a map there of famous pirates of the Caribbean and the Gulf. And I was like, okay, I've heard of some of these, Blackbeard and others. Oh, Jean Lafitte, like those kind of. So I was like, okay, I've heard of some of these. Well, there were a bunch that I hadn't heard of. So I was kind of Wikipediaing them. And there was one, Rock Brasiliano. And I was like, that guy sounds cool. And I'm going to say this. He's the original The Rock. So today we're going to learn about who was the original The Rock. Roque Brasiliano, birth name Gerrit Gerritzoen from Holland, from the Netherlands, but was in Dutch Brazil, adopted the name Roque Brasiliano, which just means the Rock of Brazil, or also known as Rock Brasiliano, was an especially cruel buccaneer in the 1600s. Bad dude. Real bad guy. Did some big time adventures, captured some ships, just all kinds of pirate stuff. But there's a section on his Wikipedia page called Atrocities. Atrocities. That's not good. A lot of times they have like controversies, but rarely do you have an entire section just called Atrocities. But Roque Brasiliano does have an atrocities section. I don't think the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has an atrocities section, although all those movies with Kevin Hart would count. But Roque Brasiliano's atrocities are drunken and debauched. Brasiliano would threaten to shoot anyone who did not drink with him. That seems like normal pirate behavior, honestly. Here's where it gets pretty crazy. Here's where it gets not exactly Captain Jack Sparrow. And gets a little worse. He roasted alive 2 Spanish farmers on wooden spits after they refused to hand over their pigs. And he was especially cruel to Spanish prisoners because he'd been imprisoned in Spain. So he would do this kind of thing quite a bit to Spanish prisoners. In fact, to the point that Spaniards feared him so much, Spanish mothers used his name as a hush word for their children. Like if you don't be quiet, Roque Brasiliano is going to come get you. Terrible guy. Atrocities. And this is who my kids want to be when they grow up. Now that they've done a pirate cruise, they want to be a pirate. Like Roque. Like The Rock. No, they've insisted they want to be a nice pirate. And I looked up several other pirates on that map and haven't found a nice one yet. I know Jean Lafitte, I think, turned out to be a good guy. Or at least help the United States in some way or something like that. Can't remember. I didn't really Wikipedia him. Maybe that'll be next week. But Roque Brasiliano, bad dude. Okay, upcoming shows. Like I said, please come to these shows. You can't come to Montana. That's a corporate event. But I just like talking about how I'm going to Montana in June. That's fun. Montana's awesome. But I'll be in Nashville this weekend at the Ryman. So we're going to talk about that next week. I will be in... Chattanooga, July 9th to host for Brian Bates at the Comedy Catch. And I will be in Mount Juliet, which is, I guess, Nashville-ish, at Billy Goat Coffee on July 10th. Headlining, so please get tickets to that. That'll be really fun. And then July 21st, big show, Mag Drop Plano. Please get tickets. It's a huge club. It's a big deal for me. I'm really excited about it. I hope you are too. It's going to be super fun. I know a lot of people that are coming. Please invite your friends, invite anybody that you think would have a good time, would like to go out on a Tuesday night and have a good time in Plano, watching some clean comedy. My buddies Kevin and Michael are opening for me. They're two of my best friends in comedy, like two of the best people that I've met in the whole world of comedy. They've been with me through a lot, and I'm really excited to have them on this show with me. And they are going to be working clean. Just don't worry about it, guys. It will be a clean show. It will be really fun. Please get your tickets. All of that is linked below. Please like, subscribe, comment, all of those things. It's a big deal. So please comment on this. Did that make you uncomfortable? Did you not like alligator hunting? Do you like that kind of stuff? There are other stories in my alligator hunting repertoire, but this is the most exciting. So if you want to hear more, let me know. And I will see you guys next week where we'll be talking about the Ryman. Did it go good? Did it go bad? Did I bomb? Did I crush? Did I somewhere in between? Did I get too nervous and not perform? Just kidding. That's not going to happen. Don't tell anyone. No. Excited about that. Thank you guys for joining me. We're now in the top 5% of all podcasts. This is the Sunroom Story Time.